Welcome to the waitingfornextyear.com podcast. I am this episode's host, Scott Sargent, and with me this week, bit of a change-up, I guess, if we were using pitches to describe our podcast. Elliot Gerard, artist from New York, who happened to be the man behind the imagery LeBron James used on his final Instagram post heading into the postseason, his Zero Dark 30/23 activation. Long chat with Elliot. We talked about the crossover between hip hop culture, NBA culture, art culture, everything that goes into what he provided, and then obviously the inspiration behind the imagery itself.
They wanted to do a cover about Cleveland and LeBron finally winning a championship for Cleveland. So I wanted to really do like an emotional piece that channeled the vindication and like the roar of vindication that Cleveland fans deserve.
There is plenty more where that came from, but before we get there, I want to talk about Patreon. WFNY has its own Patreon page you may have heard of, patreon.com/WFNY, where you can help support the site on a one-time, monthly, annual, however you feel comfortable basis to help us do bigger and better things, get bigger and better guests, write bigger and better pieces. patreon.com/WFNY. Also, head to iTunes, subscribe to this podcast, leave comments, leave ratings. All of those kind of things help boost our podcast up the ranks. We were featured in the You Also May Like for podcasts like the Cavs Road Trippin' podcast. We want to do that more often. It's free, it's easy, it takes a couple seconds. You can do that by heading to iTunes, WFNY's podcast. Leave a rating, leave a comment, tell your friends, share it, all that good stuff. Without further ado, let's head to our talk with Elliot Gerard. All right, as promised, a bit of a change from the norm in terms of what we discuss here on the WFNY podcast, but I want to bring Elliot Gerard, artist and now world-famous artist after the help of one LeBron James. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you doing, Steve?
Good. It's obviously an interesting story. Obviously, not everyone has their work shared by one of Time's top 100 most influential people in the world. But I guess just for the sake of our listening audience and myself, as we've only been kind of corresponding here for the last week or so, just dig into your background and where are you out of Cleveland? Where are you at now? And how this all unfolded?
I'm actually a New Yorker, but definitely rooted for the hometown Cavs and LeBron. My background is in design. I went to school for graphic design at Pratt. I've about 8 years ago, I had some stuff on SNY and a few other blogs. ESPN saw it and reached out to me, and they were like, would you want to do some NBA playoff illustrations for us? And I was like, yeah, sure. So I started doing stuff for them, and just boom, like I was doing stuff for CBS, the Knicks, the Red Bulls, the Rangers, the Phoenix Suns, Sports Illustrated, Fansided, you name it, athletes, agents. It just all started to roll. I guess people like myself. That's my background into this, and this was for Fansided's HP Quarterly magazine. Which they don't do anymore, but it was basically a quarterly magazine that came out that was digital and also printable. I have a copy of that. I'll send you a picture. And they wanted to do a cover about, Cleveland and LeBron finally winning a championship for Cleveland. So I wanted to really do like an emotional piece that channeled the vindication and like the roar of vindication that Cleveland fans deserve.
Did he stumble upon this and just use it on his Zero Dark 30 post, or was it something that was kind of arranged?
Absolutely. He just found it. I think that's what makes it more special. I mean, it was on Fansided, which is it's not like a mini site. But I mean, it's owned by Sports Illustrated and stuff like that. But the HP magazine was more for a specific blog on Fansided. So it wasn't like this was, on ESPN's front page or anything like that. This is something that he would have to look for. I mean, I've done stuff for J.R. Smith in the past. I have a few other, weird connections to the Cavs, but I don't know how he found it at all. There's no, I never saw anyone say, "Yo, LeBron saw this" or anything like that. But yeah, no. I mean, I think he just found it on his own, and me and John, the other artists who worked on this, were saying that he probably saw it and was held on to it and knew that he was going to post it for his Zero Dark, because he definitely plans those things out. So
everything he does is very, very calculated. So he might have been sitting on that for quite a while.
Since he saw it, you might have seen it. It came out right after he won the championship. So, and it was posted by a lot of reporters. So yeah, I mean, he probably saw it after that and he liked it and was like, I'm going to use this at some point. And then, I mean, honestly, it's a true honor, because if he wins this year, I mean, look at that performance last night. This post could be social media history. At least, I mean, obviously I'm biased, but if he wins or he goes to the finals seven times in a row, that's a Zero Dark history right there.
So he mentions he was asked about Isaiah Thomas earlier this week, mm-hmm. and reaching out to him, and he must not have a cell, because he said he hasn't had a chance to reach out to him because he's off of social media. Mm-hmm. What was the basis, I guess, upon the genesis of the whole image and the picture and everything that you guys. So for everybody who hasn't seen it yet, we'll put it in the show notes and put it in the post. But it's a very detailed image of a lion roaring in the background with LeBron in similar fashion layered over it. What was the genesis of this, and how did you and your partner come across it? And I guess since you do have a partner, how did you produce the entire image, I guess, from start to finish?
Okay, good story. So, like I said, Fansided reached out. We want to capture the emotion behind Cleveland, behind LeBron finally winning for Cleveland. And I knew that it had to be a really special piece. And I wanted to find something that was beyond just that yell. I definitely wanted to use something where he was yelling, but I knew it needed to have some kind of ramifications to it. So I was thinking about how do you I wanted it to be this kinetic energy coming from him, but how do I show that, and how do I show that kinetic energy to be bigger than life? So to represent Cleveland itself, and all the fans, and them finally getting what they deserve. So I was just thinking, well, what about a spirit animal? And obviously LeBron's spirit animal is the lion, because he's the king. And so I started looking up the lion spirit animal stuff, and immediately the Lion King came up. Julie Taymor's The Lion King, and with those masks that go over their heads and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, I got to do something like this. And so I was like, I could draw the mask and whatever. I could do all of that myself. But I was like, but if you look at these pictures, there's such a contrast between the person's face and the mask. And I was like, I need another artist to do this. And so I had gone and seen John's work at a gallery where both of us had shown our work. Both of us are, he does other, more hip hop stuff. I do some, but mostly sports. But he does sports stuff as well. And when I was at this gallery, Matt Gallery with him, I was like, I got to do something with this guy. This is his stuff, and it blows my mind. It's total contrast. I mean, he's also the total opposite of me as well. So I reached out. I was like, he would be the perfect person for this, because he does these really sharp angles that look like metal. And that's what I kind of wanted to be like this energy that also looked like a metal mask. And so, so I told him about it. Within like a day and a half, he sent me back the line, and I was like, wow, this is unbelievable.
So he did the lion and you did LeBron? Is that
yeah,
how?
so I did, yeah, exactly. He did the lion, and then my job was, it just made my job easier because then I could just see, I could like almost, picture how LeBron was going to fit in there. So I started doing that, and then, I added some elements of lion-esque features to LeBron as well to just give it a little bit of, but once I had his lion, it just kind of flowed from there. I added some other elements like a crown above his head and stuff like that on there, but yeah, I mean, it's a great piece because one, I think it tells a story. Two, the fact that I collaborated with another artist who's so different, and what it led to was a relationship that we've done for Fansided. We did like 10 more pieces like that. We've since done an art show together. The two of us, I mean, we don't only do stuff together, but, it's really both of us. I didn't know what to expect. And I think that it obviously it went way past my expectations. I mean, it obviously, it touched the person that we actually illustrated, LeBron himself. So I think that there's something bigger to it than we even realized what we were doing. And that energy from it kind of rolled into our next project.
No, that's great. So are your shows similar? Like, are they these images, or do you when you go to shows, is it something completely unique to what we're talking about?
We had a show recently on the Upper West Side that showed all the artwork that the two of us did together. Like I said, we did one piece for the show as well, like just for the show itself, but like most of it was all like fan-sided stuff. I can give you all those too. Like we've done a Kevin Durant one where he's like evolving from one uniform to the next in both of our styles. John does some really cool text treatments. There was another one where there was an article. These are all editorials except for the LeBron Lion one was actually a cover. So there was one article that was about, how LeBron's seen as a loser and a winner. And he finally, seen as the ultimate winner. And it showed like him, it was like split down the middle, him like with his back to you with, his Heat uniform on it. And then him with his Cavs uniform holding the trophy. And with the Heat uniform, he's looking dejected. And then on each side, it has words. So like on the side with the where he's holding up the trophy, it says like hero and, the chosen one and all this stuff. And then, on the Heat side, it's like betrayer, the decision, all this stuff. So it just shows a really cool dichotomy. And what I like about with John is that you can tell these stories by showing two different styles, and that they're sort of each telling their own story within the artwork itself.
Is it fair to say? I mean, because we've both been, and everyone listening to this podcast will, has been lifelong sports fans. With the way the internet has evolved in terms of covering sports, now you have independent websites like WFNY, you have websites big and small. But I feel like the last couple of years specifically, there's been an increase in not just the number, but the quality of artistry that has surrounded sports as well.
Absolutely.
The stuff that Shea Serrano does, for his basketball books is 100%, original art. The bookmarks, the Iva J.R. Smith bookmark of his, that is, 100%, original art. And I feel like we've gone from a place where it was, still shots of these things and videos of these people doing incredible feats of athleticism to now incorporating artistry that is around it. And it's no longer 100% about the written word or about video or about photography. When Glenn Infante did that gigantic mural in front of Quicken Loans Arena last year for Nike and that whole thing. I mean, the independent art scene has merged with sports in a way that I don't think, has been this dynamic ever. And I think it's really, really cool that you're, been able to be such a big part of that. And I know my rambling started as a question and then it turned into a statement, but I think, it's just something that I don't know what the future holds in it, but I think we're in a really unique time where all of this art can, we've all watched sports, and forever it was just it was a one-way experience, right? They perform and we watch, and now it's a two-way street where they perform, but we also get to express our own artistry around their performances. Absolutely,
yeah. I think you hit it right on the head. I've been lucky to ride this wave. I would say I probably started doing it like sports illustration, digital, all this stuff about, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. And I guess, that slowly started to pick up steam. And as that happened, I started getting discovered. And I think I've, the last, I don't know, probably like 6 years or whatever that I've been doing this, it's just gone exponentially, maybe partially because of me. I don't know. I mean, I'm not like the hugest, but I think that there's definitely my influence out there. But just in general, I think you're right. I think that the internet, there's so much content that needs to be made. And I think that people are really starting to appreciate art for sports, but specifically basketball art too. I'm finding that I've done, most of my pieces I've done is actually basketball and lately soccer. So soccer and basketball, I would say, are really, people really appreciate good artwork there. I think that there's like a culture to it that other sports don't have as much. And I think that it fits really well. So, one of the things that I'm working on actually is to do a basketball show that has like basketball going on while the show is going on as well. So that's an idea that I have I'm working on called the Game Gallery. But I think that there's like this entwinement, and I think that people have seen these pictures so many times over of Jordan dunking, or Vince Carter dunking on a 7-footer in the Olympics. What's his name? They want to see more. They want to see it taken further. I feel like, So and I think that this piece captures that. It captures that. It's a perfect example of taking something and leaping it forward, bringing it as far as you can, by using different techniques. But yeah, I think that I think it's really great. I hope it continues because, it's my passion, my two passions, sports and illustration. And I think it's great what's going on. And I always find something new. I'm always looking at, artists online and getting inspired by other sports artists, whether they're big time or, kids, building up their portfolio.
Frederick Weiss, by the way, is the 7-footer that Vince Carter dunked over. Frederick Weiss.
Instead of Ron Artest.
Yeah, to solve that bit of trivia there. And there's definitely, to your point, a subculture that exists in the NBA and soccer to a point internationally. That just isn't there with the NFL or with baseball. And I think the overlap is perfect because John with the hip hop stuff. There's obviously a huge subculture overlap between hip hop and basketball, and then the street art that comes with it. The Venn diagram I think overlaps very heavily, so it's great. So where can people find you? Where can people find more of your stuff? And obviously we'll put it in the show notes, but I want to make sure that you get all your plugs out there.
You can go to actually zeroart30.com if you're interested in getting a print and learning more about it. It has all our contact info as well on there. But that's zeroart instead of dark 30.com. Or you can go to my social hashtag, which is it's Elliot Gerard, so ELLIOT GERARD. Or you can go to John Graf Voices site, which is Graf GRAPH ATIK Graph Attic.
Perfect.
So thank you so much for having us on.
No, for sure.
Having me on.
I'll reach out to John. I'll reach out to John and get some of his thoughts as well. We'll compile this into something a little larger. Awesome work, excellent work. Not just with the LeBron piece that has gone obviously viral, but the stuff prior to that, and all of the conceptual things that you have in the back of your head going forward. Looking forward to following from afar. That's for sure. Absolutely, looking forward to seeing the Cavs win again. All right, Elliot. Thank you so much. All right, talk to you soon. Bye. Huge thank you to Elliot for jumping on the podcast with us. I also want to invite all of you over to waitingfornextyear.com for the written version of this piece. We have more information and some quotes from John, his partner, who he referenced in the interview, who could not jump on the phone with us but did have some thoughts to share, and a couple other pieces of their art worth checking out as well. Again, head up to patreon.com/WFNY, patreon.com/WFNY to help support the site. Head to iTunes, subscribe to WFNY, the podcast, leave a review, leave a rating, tell your friends, all that good stuff. And thank you again. Until next time, this is the waitingfornextyear.com podcast.